Ever thought about what a big, shiny government building really says about a state's priorities? Well, today we're diving into the story behind Meghalaya's brand new legislative assembly. And let me tell you, the numbers involved are pretty mind-boggling. Let's get right into it. So let's just start with the big number, 400 crore rupees. That's the estimated price tag for this new assembly complex. Just let that number sink in for a second. And here's the real kicker. This huge investment, it's for a legislature that, on average, only gets together for about 25 days out of the entire year. Yeah, that massive gap between the cost and the actual usage, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Okay, so first things first, what exactly is this project and where are things at right now? This isn't just some idea on a drawing board, it's already well underway. Towards the end of 2025, there were inspections and they even held a sort of preliminary event on site. The main hall itself is supposed to be finished by June 2026. So this is all happening as we speak. All right, let's get into the math. This is where we break down that enormous price tag to see what it really means. We keep coming back to this number for a reason. An estimated 400 crore rupees. And remember, that's for the whole shebang, construction, land, furniture, everything. So who's this all for? Well, primarily it's for the 60 members of the Legislative Assembly, the MLAs, who are elected to represent the people of Meghalaya. Now, this is where the numbers start to feel a little wild. If you do the math, that 400 crores works out to roughly 6.67 crore rupees for each MLA. And if the assembly only meets for those 25 days a year, the cost for every single one of those days comes out to a staggering 26 lakh rupees. And to put that into perspective, just look at the difference a schedule makes. Right now, at 25 days a year, the cost per day is 26 lakhs. But what if the assembly met for 100 days a year, which is closer to what some other states do? Well, that cost would plummet to just 4 lakh rupees per day. It really shows you just how much the limited use inflates the cost of every single session. So, all of this leads to the central debate, right? Is this building a much-needed modern necessity, or is it just a wild extravagance? You've basically got two camps. On one side, people are arguing it's about prestige, having modern facilities, and a space where the public can actually come and watch. But on the other side, critics are saying, hey, the old building works just fine, the state doesn't have unlimited money, and this feels like a luxury, not a necessity. And, it's interesting because when you look at the actual research, political science studies are pretty clear on this. There's just no evidence that a fancier, more expensive parliament building leads to better laws being made inside it. A shiny building, it seems, doesn't guarantee better governance. Okay, so this brings us to what economists call opportunity cost. It's a simple but powerful idea. If you're not spending the money on this building, what else could you be spending it on? And that is a really powerful question, especially for a state like Meghalaya. When you're talking about a sum as huge as 400 crore rupees, what are the alternatives? Well, the source material lays out some pretty stark choices. That same amount of money could have funded 400 new primary health centers, which would bring healthcare to communities all over the state. Or it could have paid for 100 kilometers of new roads, which are desperately needed. But maybe the most jaw-dropping comparison is this one. The state's HIV mission reportedly needs about 25 crore rupees. The money being spent on this one building could fund that critical public health mission 16 times over. That single fact really puts the government's priorities into sharp focus. So let's zoom out for a second. Because, this is about way more than just one building. It's about how these huge decisions get made in the first place. It makes you wonder, right? Is there any guarantee that this massive investment will actually encourage the legislature to meet more often, to do more work for the people they represent? Or is it the other way around? Will the number of sitting days just stay the same, making each of those 25 days astronomically more expensive for the taxpayers who are footing the bill? And that brings us right back to that really tough comparison. How is it that 400 crore rupees was available for a new building, but 25 crore for a vital public health program was seemingly not a priority? It's a fundamental question about how a government decides what's important. And in the end, it really all boils down to this, doesn't it? In a democracy, who gets to decide how our money is spent? Who sets the priorities for all of us? And how do we hold those in power accountable for the choices they make? That's a question that goes way beyond this one building in Meghalaya. And frankly, it's one we should all be asking.